Morning, students. The story that today we are going to cover is I Want Something in a Case. As you know that we have studied the first paragraph in which we found that Mr. Purcell, who had lots of animals, variety of animals in his case, and it was his passion, it was his love for animals. That's why he had started this shop. It was not only for the sake of money. He wanted only money. Instead of that, he also had deep love and emotional attachment with animals, and this can be proved that he also came to know about the remedies of the animal, how to just give them treatment, how to get them out of problem when any kinds of animal face such problems. Here, the second paragraph that shows frightened, bewildered, blindly seeking across the slopes pulsed his endless flicker of life. Here, the line shows that it was the behavior of the animals in the case. The case he had lots of animals of different varieties making different sounds, and that has been showed here in this paragraph. But the customers who came in said, "Aren't they quaint? Look at the little case. They are sweet." Mr. Purcell himself would smile and briskly rub his hands and emphatically shake his head. One day what happened? A customer entered his shop and started saying lots of good things about his case, about the beauty of the animals, about their cuteness, about their smartness. Means you can say he admired about the shop in the animals. And it's a general perception that if a person admires you, if a person talks goodness in you, a person can be happy. All the same, Mr. Purcell becomes happy when he listens lots of good things about his shop. Each morning, when the routine of opening his shop was completed, it was the proprietor's custom to perch on a high stool behind the counter, unfold his morning paper, and digest the day's news. As he read, he would shrink, frown, reflectively pause his lips, knowingly lift his eyebrow, nod in grave agreement. Here, it was the daily routine of Mr. Purcell that first of all he used to open his shop, and after that he used to enter that place and arrange all the things of his shop and sit on the stool and started reading newspaper. And he used to go through the newspaper. Go through means here, students, that line by line you go through the summary and each article and try to understand. And the moment Mr. Purcell was reading the newspaper, there was mentioned the events of crime, the events of murder, the events of love, lots of things mentioned. According to the article, according to the thing which was mentioned in the paper, he used to express his face. His facial expression used to just show his agreement, disagreement, anger, happiness, love, that used to come out of his face the moment he used to read the newspaper. Means he was totally engrossed in reading the newspaper. It was his love in reading the newspaper. It is also true that a good reader of a story is one who make himself the character of the same story, and then he enjoy the story. Then you enjoy really. All the same, Mr. Purcell used to do. That's why he used to change his facial expression. It was a rough day. One day what happened? The love lord and the detailed columns of advertisement. Even advertisement, as students I said that everything, nothing was missing from the newspaper. He used to go through the newspaper, means each and everything mentioned in the newspaper he used to cover and understand. It was a rough day. One day what happened? Why he said a rough day? A strong wind below against the high plate glass window. One day what happened? It was a windy day, means the wind was blowing strongly that smashed everything in the house. A smoke flamed and the wintry city and the air was grey with the thick frost. Having completed his usual tasks, Mr. Purcell again mounted the high stool and unfolded his morning paper. Once again he used to just arrange all the things which were destroyed and misplaced due to the heavy wind. Again he used to come and start reading the newspaper. He adjusted his glasses, that goggle a person he has, and glance at the day's headlines. Glance means, at the very first sight you go through the only headlines, that is said a glance. Chirping and squeaking and mewing vibrated all around him. It was the sound of animal. Chirping means the sound of birds. When the birds making sound, that is said to be chirping. Squeaking and mewing, that is the sound of, you can say, cat. When the cat makes sound, it is called mewing. Vibrated all around him. Vibrated means making sounds around him. That it was usual behavior of the animals and he was in the habit. It was not something strange. It was his habit of listening these kinds of sound of animals. Mr. Purcell heard it no more than he would have heard the monotonous ticking of a similar clock. Suppose that he was hearing the usual clock sound. There was a bell over the door that jingled whenever a customer entered. And in his shop there was a bell hanging. Whenever a customer used to enter his shop, the bell used to alarm Mr. Purcell that a person has entered your shop. This morning, however, for the first time, Purcell could recall it failed to ring. But one day what happened? That the bell did not ring and even a customer had entered his shop. It was completely strange. Simply he glanced up and there was a stranger standing just inside the door. As he had materialized out of the thin air, it was the matter of surprise for the first time in his life that why the bell did not ring, and the man in his shop was in front of him. He was surprised. Suppose he had come through the air. The storekeeper slid off his stool. From the first instant he knew instinctively, unreasonably, that the man hated him. But Mr. Purcell understood that the man who has entered my shop must have hatred for me. He has not love for me, but it was his own perception, his own understanding. But out of habit, he rubbed his hands briskly together, smiled and nodded. Nodded means when you in agreement or disagreement you shake your heads, that is called nodded. Good morning, he beamed. What can I do for you? Then after Mr. Purcell said that, how can I help you, mister? He said after that. Thank you.